You know, it was hard sitting on the bench. I'm not going to lie. There were certainly some hard days, but, you know, I think it taught myself how to be a really good leader and how to be a really good teammate and how to empathize for your teammates in certain situations. You know, when you're in the heat of battle, your emotions are high and, you know, you feel things differently. And I think when you're on the sidelines and you don't have your jersey on, you can observe and really watch people and learn about people.
After months of complete silence, Caitlin Clark has finally broken her silence, and she didn't hold anything back. In her very first interview since suffering the devastating injury that cut her season short, Caitlin opens up about everything. She shares the exact moment it happened, the heartbreak of being forced to watch from the sidelines, and the grueling ups and downs of rehab. From pushing through pain in private to staying mentally tough while endless speculation swirled online, Caitlin is now setting the record straight, and trust me, you won't believe what she admits about how it all unfolded. Drop your well wishes for Caitlin's full recovery in the comments below. Let's get into it.
Caitlin, what's the status of your health right now, and what specifically injury-wise between the ankle and the groin was it that prevented you from coming back this year?
Yeah, honestly, I've been working really hard to get back to full health, and I feel like probably over these last couple of weeks is when I've probably started feeling my best. Obviously, my ankle kind of didn't allow me to really see where my groin was at. It was, I think, my second full court workout back when we were in, I don't even know what month that would have been, but I just went to kind of make a move, and unfortunately my ankle like completely rolled all the way forward, and probably one of the worst sprains I've dealt with.
Caitlin Clark's season was never meant to end this way. She had already been battling through a nagging groin injury when disaster struck during what should have been a simple workout. Her ankle rolled badly, one of the worst sprains of her career, and just like that, her comeback was derailed. What makes it even more heartbreaking is that she never got that one defining moment. No farewell game, no true ending. Day after day, she kept pushing, convinced she'd step back onto the court only to be hit with more setbacks. That kind of grind takes a toll, physically but especially mentally, in ways most fans will never fully understand.
You know, I've just tried to stay positive the best I can, and but I honestly feel like I'm in a really good spot, and you know, people don't always realize, I mean, people that, you know, are kind of in the basketball world, or whether if you're in other sports too, like when you're injured, it's honestly more work than when you're playing. So, you know, I've spent so much time here in this building this season just trying to get healthy and trying to kind of just get back to 100%. And honestly, I think that, you know, if I never was, you know, I obviously played that game in Connecticut, and that's where I kind of felt some more pain in my right groin, and then obviously had some tests and other things done, and you know, there was no decision of like, this is the end of my season. I had full intention of returning, and I think in a way that was probably positive for me, because that's how I approached every single.
Through all the pain, Caitlin never lost her focus or her fight. She admitted that what most people don't understand is that recovery can be even tougher than playing the game itself. The endless hours in the gym, the isolation, the doubts, and the non-stop questions, it's a battle of its own. Yet day after day, without any spotlight or guarantees, she kept grinding. No cameras, no applause, just pure determination. That's the side of her story we almost never see until now.
Came in here like I was going to play, I was going to get back out on the court, and it probably would have been even more devastating and crushing knowing that I was never going to be able to put my uniform back on for the rest of the season. But you know, you just approach it like every single day you attack and get better, and it'll be the same for me going forward. Like, that work doesn't stop, and you know, I think I've had really good perspective on it all, and that's probably what I'm most proud of too.
There's a big difference between looking like you're healthy and actually being game ready, and Caitlin Clark explains that better than anyone. She points out that knocking down spot-up shots or jogging through light drills can't compare to the speed and chaos of real competition. In a live game, you're not thinking about how your foot plants or how sharp your cut is. You just react, and after an injury, that instinct is the scariest hurdle. Your body has to learn to trust itself again. The only way to get there? Full 5-on-5 play and taking real contact.
I think that's probably where people struggle to understand at times, is there is a huge difference than me standing there and shooting spot shots and running up and down, in a basketball game, like I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm planting here, oh, I'm cutting, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm doing that. Like you're just doing it. So your muscles need to be able to react and withstand that type of stuff. So that's where the 5-on-5 becomes really critical. And then obviously the contact piece of it too. Like you don't know where you're going to be taking contact from, but you know, my goal, it was the end of October to kind of be out there and trying to get back to playing 5-on-5.
That's why her comeback isn't measured only by the calendar. It's measured by trust. Caitlin has circled late October as the target for her full speed return, but she knows it's about more than just her body healing. Every sprint, every sharp cut, every bit of contact is about rebuilding confidence step by step. The journey won't be perfectly straight, but Caitlin is locked in, and when she does return, she'll be sharper, tougher, and more prepared than ever before.
I've been grinding as hard as I possibly can. And you know, that's how it's always kind of just been for me. Like I love the work, I love putting in the work, and you know, that it's been difficult not being able to like see the time you put in, being able to put on your jersey and see it pay off. But I think, like I said, I think it's been a really good opportunity for me to learn a lot about myself, and you know, certain lessons that will probably be really important throughout my career as well.
For a competitor like Caitlin Clark, sitting on the sidelines felt like pure torture, but in many ways it turned into one of the biggest lessons of her career. Without the ability to change the game with her play, she had to slow down and see everything differently. She learned to lead through her voice, not just her skills. She discovered the value of listening, of staying present, and of being there for her teammates, even when she couldn't step on the court herself.
And almost take on the role of another set of coaching eyes with this group this season.
I mean, it's not what I envisioned by any means. But, you know, I've talked with a few people about this. I think, you know, when I get a few years down here in my career, like, I think this is a moment in a season I'll look back on and be like, this is why I am who I am today. And that's obviously probably pretty challenging to think in that way right now, but I truly believe that. And, you know, it was hard sitting on the bench, I'm not gonna lie.
Caitlin admits the journey was anything but easy. There were tough days, waves of frustration, and countless moments where all she wanted was to be battling alongside her team. But in that struggle, she discovered something even more meaningful: empathy. She began to see not just the physical grind her teammates faced, but the emotional battles too. And that kind of understanding, she believes, is the foundation of true leadership.
And, you know, I don't think it was so much for me like the basketball. I mean, like, obviously you learn about basketball. That's always how I've learned. I've been a basketball junkie. Like, you watch games, you watch the NBA, you watch college, you just have basketball on. That's the best way to improve your IQ. But also to learn about people and ask them questions and watch the way they operate. And for myself, getting to do that with my teammates, I think is probably the biggest lesson I learned. And just, you know, how can I show up every single day and, you know, pour into them.
Her time away from the floor didn't bring highlight reels or big headlines, but it gave her something far more valuable: perspective. She was reminded of what it truly means to be a teammate, of how to show up for others even when no one's watching, and that real leadership isn't measured on a stat sheet. And when Caitlin makes her return, that growth and emotional intelligence will only make her an even bigger threat on the court.
And forward down the road, like, if I have a teammate that's injured or hurt or going through a tough moment, like, I know I will always show up for them and be there for them and check in on them, because it is an incredibly isolating thing, and you don't realize that until you go through it. And, you know, everybody says it, like, but you don't feel it unless you go through it. So I think all of that is probably what I learned most.
All through her rehab, one steady presence for Caitlin was Aaliyah Boston. Whenever Caitlin spoke about her, you could hear the gratitude, because Aaliyah wasn't just a teammate, she was a true friend. Day after day, she brought encouragement, empathy, and leadership, becoming the rock that kept the team grounded. Caitlin admitted just how much that support meant during the toughest stretches of recovery. The bond between point guard and post goes beyond X's and O's. It's built on trust, communication, and genuine care.
I think it's obviously AB's tremendous. Like, we've always had a great relationship, and that's what exactly you need between your post and your point guard. And she's always been somebody that's been there to check in and pick me up. But I think that goes for our entire team, and I think that speaks for our entire season. I don't think it would be, you know, I don't think we would have had the type of success that we had if it wasn't for the friendship or the empathy people showed one another, or the next man up mentality, like that was shown across the board in our locker room.
But Aaliyah wasn't the only one lifting her up. Caitlin pointed to the entire locker room for embracing a true next woman up mentality. No matter if a starter went down or a new face stepped in, the culture never wavered. Everyone showed up for each other. That bond is what kept the Fever battling all season, even as the injuries piled higher. And for Caitlin, it wasn't just reassuring, it was deeply inspiring.
You know, for myself, or whether it was for somebody that came in mid-season and got hurt, like it was always the same. Like you always care for your teammates in the same manner. So, you know, obviously AB was tremendous in that role, and I think she had an incredible year, but honestly our entire roster really excelled in that area.
Sitting on the bench gave Caitlin a whole new perspective. She had a front row view of how her teammates dealt with pressure, how they lifted each other up, and how different players responded to different kinds of motivation. Those little details revealed dynamics she never would have noticed while playing. It wasn't just basketball she was studying, it was people, and that shift reshaped her understanding of what true leadership really means.
With respect to your recovery, looking down the line, have you explored opportunities maybe to play 5-on-5 during the offseason as part of kind of that ramp up so that you're ready for next season, and have played actual basketball before things start up again in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always explore every opportunity, and I haven't made any decisions, and I don't know, you know, what that's necessarily going to look like for me. Like I said, there's some USA basketball stuff that is probably my top priority right now that I need to prepare for, and I think that will help me prepare for next season too. But obviously, then you have to prepare for USA basketball in some manner. So that, you know, there's just a lot of different things you got to figure out and balance, and you know, I'll work through a lot of that too.
This experience made Caitlin think about the kind of leader she wants to be moving forward. Not just the fiery competitor fans see on the court, but also the teammate who listens, supports, and adapts. The emotional growth she gained during this time is something she'll carry with her, and she's already considering how to pass it on to the next teammate who ends up sidelined, because now she truly understands what that feels like.
Steph mentioned that it was kind of baby steps and getting back and making sure you don't lose what you've worked on this season. Just what are your plans for the off season, and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose kind of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my body back to full health. There's some USA basketball stuff I need to get ready for.
Caitlin isn't letting this offseason go to waste. While she'll take a short break, it's anything but a vacation. Her focus is locked on rebuilding her body, not just recovering, but conditioning herself to withstand the grind of an entire WNBA season. She knows too much time away from the court can erase the progress she's fought for, so she's balancing carefully between giving herself rest and staying game ready.
You know, I need to be able to find some runs and some ways to play 5-on-5, just so I can kind of get that feel back. And but more than anything, I think my main focus is really just getting my body healthy, and once we get back to 5-on-5, like just being able to test my body and make sure I know it's in a good spot where it's going to be able to hold up with everything that, you know, we think we've corrected or we think we've worked on, to be able to know I'm in a really good spot there. And you know, when you go through injuries, especially in my scenario where it's been a few of the reoccurring kind of bouncing around, which isn't necessarily uncommon in my situation just because of compensation.
The next big milestone is just ahead, 5-on-5 basketball. It's the final hurdle in Caitlin's recovery, and it's exactly what she's focused on. She explained how crucial it is to push her body in real game situations, to see how it responds under pressure, and whether all the work in rehab truly carries over. For Caitlin, this step isn't only about being cleared, it's about confidence. She needs to feel healthy in every stride, every sharp cut, and every bit of contact.
And you know, when you're dealing with things in that groin area, that just is kind of how it can go sometimes. I think it's important that you can become confident in your body again, and that's for anybody that goes through injury. So that's probably going to be my main focus, is, you know, just feeling 100% again, and then obviously, you know, having that confidence in my body too.
And if that wasn't enough, Caitlin is also gearing up for her USA basketball commitments. That means pushing her intensity, finding top-level competition, and making sure her timing is sharp. It's a jam-packed offseason, but for Caitlin, it's not just about returning, it's about leveling up. After 3 months away from the spotlight, Caitlin Clark didn't just speak, she came through. Honest, focused, and more determined than ever. Her words revealed a player who isn't just healing, but evolving. From the grueling rehab sessions to the leadership lessons learned while watching from the bench, her journey has taken a sharp turn, one that could define the next chapter of her career. And here's the bottom line: Caitlin Clark isn't done, not even close. If you thought the hype was fading, think again. The fire is alive and maybe burning hotter than ever. Drop your well wishes for her full recovery in the comments. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Click the video on the screen and we'll see you in the next one.